like to call to order the Board of Supervisors meeting for the wonderful town of Sevastopol on Monday, September 15th at 7 p.m. If you'd please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Amy, how about we establish a quorum? Roll call.
Supervisor Jeannie Vogel?
Here.
Supervisor Mark Haim?
Here.
Chairman Dan Wolfel?
Here.
Supervisor Trent Olson?
Here.
Supervisor Linda Waite is excused.
All right. Let's meet our guests tonight. Let's start with someone we don't know.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Hugh Zettel. I am the County Board Supervisor representing the eastern half of the town of Sevastopol and also the northern half of the town of Sturgeon Bay, and I reside at 3986 Glidden Drive.
Wonderful. Let's go back.
I'm Jim Mitchie, 4159 Bay Shore Drive.
Another person we don't know. All right.
Gwen Gray Boys, 5343 South Lake Road.
Three people we don't know. Welcome. Let's start in the back row, sir.
Becky Halstead, 3968 State Highway 4257, and I just recently moved back. I'm a graduate of the class of 74, and so I know some of your parents.
You know some of our parents? Boy, I hope you know mine. Yes, sir.
Larry Madden. Madden's been around here for quite some time, almost since Sevastopol.
And I forgot to mention, you might know my cousin, he's deceased now, but Randy Halstead.
Oh,
Yeah.
knew him well.
He was great.
Sir?
I'm John Vincent. I live on Lake Forest Park Road in Sturgeon Bay Township, and here to talk about the cable project.
Okay.
Annette Vincent, 2794 Lake Forest Park Road, also here to talk about cable.
And I'm Rod Miller, 5087 County Road TT in the town of Sturgeon Bay.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome to those we know, and welcome to those that we don't. We show up on a regular basis. We have monthly meetings here. All right. All right, public participation for non-agenda items. So if you'd like to speak, I'll give you a few minutes to talk to a particular topic you have in mind. Just let me know who. Jim? Really?
Okay,
Your hand went up.
Wow.
Thought your hand was up.
Last days of summer.
All right. Yes. Just speak into the microphone.
just take it
Either
right
pick
off
it
and
up
hold
or
it.
pull it off the
There you
stand and speak into it.
First, I wish to thank the board for supporting the community and trying to get an in-person hearing with a Zoom option on the proposed expansion of the concentrated animal feeding operation at Matthew Road and County T. Having a Zoom option as part of the in-person meeting is essential as we get later into the season and more of our seasonal residents who could be affected leave for warmer locations. It should be noted that many of these seasonal residents do vote here, as this is their home, even if they stay 4 to 5 months elsewhere or travel. We still do not have a public hearing scheduled, and we've been checking. Second, I would like to update you on crucial information we have discovered as we have researched the permit process and the location involved. We have talked in person with Bill Schuster, former head of Storr County Soil and Water Conservation for over 35 years. He has informed us that there is a sinkhole present on the farm in a closed depression dangerously close to the production facilities. He has notified Greg Colthurst, current head of Soil and Water, who has notified the DNR. A containment breach in the liquid manure storage facilities would be catastrophic, as gravity would channel the liquid into this sinkhole and into the aquifer of the surrounding area. A spreading accident in 2014 over a sinkhole near Jacksonport sickened at least 16 people and contaminated wells for weeks, widely reported in the local press. And I've got a packet I'm going to give you guys, but if you want it emailed eventually, I can as well. A few clippings I will submit to you for your review, so we all remember. A manure storage facility contains large amounts of liquid waste manure and could cause far more significant damage. Bill Schuster recommended building some redundancy protection into the holding facilities that would direct any liquid manure away from the sinkhole and hold it until it could be contained further. I want to note the current plans make no mention of the sinkhole and have no such redundancy explicitly talked about in the permit. I would also like to note that in 2023, Door County had 3 mechanical failures of manure equipment causing spillage, so the possibility of a containment breach certainly is a real possibility. And again, I'm going to give you a reference. 2 of the 3 mechanical failures were storage facility malfunctions. Third, I would like to point out that the monitoring wells recommended by their own hydrogeologist are not required until the end of 2029, allowing the farm to operate as a CAFO without the necessary monitoring for the next 4 years that their own hydrogeologist recommended. Finally, I would like to introduce to you the concept of factory farm operations ordinances. The DNR permit, as currently written, indicates it is subject to local rules and regulations. Some communities in western Wisconsin are using local regulations to protect their citizens. Some areas that could be addressed are fire response plans, carcass and infectious disease plans, a financial bond to secure cleanup in the event of a catastrophe or bankruptcy, etc. I want to present to you just a simple brochure that you could look at on the process involved from Sustain Rural Wisconsin. I know you guys are at least somewhat familiar with these local ordinances because we checked and you guys have one from 2014. Many of us are not willing to trust only the DNR to regulate and monitor this situation when they have not updated their paper of record for public notices from decades ago. If you wish to inform the citizens of Door County with a public notice, the Door County Advocate is not the paper to use. Most local government bodies use the Peninsula Pulse. We ask that the board continue to advocate for the community interests of all your citizens and the other local businesses, particularly the tourism industry, that could be impacted by an expansion of a CAFO north of the canal in Door County. And thank you, and I'd just like to give you guys this packet. Is that okay?
All right. Just as an FYI, the last information that I had gotten is that they are going to do a public hearing, but they were researching a location to support 200 people. As I understand it, once they have selected a location and they announce a hearing, you have 30 days from there to actually hold it. So
Yes.
There'll be opportunity for everyone to gather their thoughts. But frankly, I don't know why they're having trouble finding a facility that
That is also our question.
yeah, I mean, there's certainly a number of places that they could do it, so perhaps they're looking for maybe Lambeau Field, something that'll hold a few people. I don't know, but anyway, we are aware of that, and thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Yes.
Oh.
Good evening, I'm John Vincent, I'm Annette's husband. And when we did speak to Bill Schuster, the former head of Soil and Water, about the Gilbert Farms, he described the farm topographically as a closed depression. And what that means is, kind of in a nutshell, is when it rains there, the water doesn't flow off the property into surface waters and makes its way to the bay, but rather the water stays on the property and gravitates into a wetland that's part of the 80 acres of the farm. Now, the farm itself, the CAFO operations, where the cows are, is concentrated in just a few acres of that 80 acres, and it's along the southern border of the farm, right along County T. And if you've driven by there, you would recognize the very large the barns where they keep the cattle. It's a freestyle barn, and next to it there's a milking parlor, and then there's a special building for the calves. And then they have a building for processing the manure itself, where they extract the liquid part of the manure from the solids, They often make use of the solids in a very dry form for additional bedding for the livestock. But the liquid is pumped into storage facilities, which are basically concrete-lined containment facilities, which are like open pools that can hold a large volume of liquid manure. Currently, they have two. One is about a 2 million gallon capacity, and then next to it is a 1 million gallon capacity. To accommodate the expansion, they anticipate building an 8 million gallon capacity liquid manure storage facility. And all three of these open containment facilities are located kind of on the back of the production area. And the production area itself is at the highest point in the farm, elevation-wise. So anything, the flow would be from the south to the north, from the front of the farm to the back. And right at the back of the farm, where all these facilities are kind of gathered in a horizontal structure, there's a drop-off. And there's an open, kind of an open bedrock cliff, and to the west 40 is the wetlands, and to the east 40 is pasture land, which they use as one of their 49 spreading fields for spreading the liquid manure from the operation. At the base of that rock wall is the sinkhole that Annette was referring to. And we have a picture of this, which we'll leave with you. It's kind of a horizontal opening in the rock wall, like a cave, and water flows into it. If the wetlands fill up in a storm, the water will drain into the sinkhole. But more importantly, if there were ever to be a breach in the containment facilities, which are just above where the sinkhole is, it would inevitably drain into the sinkhole unless precautions are taken. Or if in loading one of the manure trucks to take the liquid manure to the fields where it is spread, hopefully responsibly, if there's an accident with that, then again, there's a likelihood as the manure would find its way into the sinkhole and create the kind of situation that Annette referred to. Back in 2014, the event in Jacksonport that occurred when the 16 families were sickened, it was with spreading of manure on a field that inadvertently spread over a sinkhole. That was just spreading.
Right.
You know, if you had a breach of several million gallons, it could be far more of a catastrophe. And that's the main issue that Bill Schuster emphasized with us. He says the most important thing is that safeguards are taken so that in the unlikely event that an accident did occur, that there would be a way to divert the pollutant away from the sinkhole. And then lastly, the second most important issue, he said, that would be important to emphasize is how the effluent is spread on the various spreading fields. He said there's a right way to do that, and if you follow the guidelines and the rules, it can be done safely, but that is something that we should monitor, and the mechanism should be in place for an eye to be kept on that. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to my neighbor and Rod Miller.
Keep in mind, please, it's not a public hearing, so I'm being very generous in the allocation of time here, so please be brief.
Okay. Yes, I'll try to be brief. Again, good evening, Chair and members of the Sevastopol Town Board. Again, my name is Rod Miller. I'm a fourth-generation landowner, and I reside 1 mile south of the Gilbert Farm production area. in the town of Sturgeon Bay. My concerns regarding the permitting of the concentrated animal feeding operation is based on a review of the permit documents themselves, which contain troubling inconsistencies and which I believe are clear risks for our community.
Would you pull the mic a little closer to yourself, please? Or
One
speak into it.
such
Thank you.
risk is the volume of liquid manure that will be generated. The public notice stated that the Gilbert Farms will generate about 5.7 million gallons per year of liquid manure. However, the permit documentation shows that they will actually generate over 21 million gallons of liquid manure and processed wastewater annually after the expansion is complete. This represents an increase of over 3.5 times the volume. As far as we know, this volume of liquid manure will be applied to the currently available 1,379 acres of owned and rented land. This is per their nutrient management plan, which means that the landowners can expect an increase of over 3.5 times more liquid manure on their land. In Door County, where karst geology and shallow soils are common, the stakes are especially high. This increased volume represents clear environmental risks for our community. The environmental risks include groundwater contamination, surface water runoff, and of course air quality. Regarding groundwater contamination, again, in our area with karst geology, an average soil depth of 12 inches, manure nutrients, especially nitrates and phosphorus, can quickly and easily leach into the aquifers, threatening drinking water supplies. Regarding surface water runoff, excessive amounts of liquid manure or rainfall shortly after application can carry nutrients into nearby watershed areas, and from the watershed areas into the creeks and streams, and finally Lake Michigan and the Bay of Green Bay. And finally, manure releases ammonia and hydrogen sulfide, which will cause unpleasant odors for residents and can cause respiratory irritation. Our community health and quality of life is also at risk. Well water is the primary water source for all of Door County. In other Wisconsin counties, similar manure volumes have led to documented nitrate spikes and other contaminants in private wells. We're all very familiar with the contamination in Kewaunee County wells. Let's not repeat those mistakes in Door County. Persistent odors can reduce outdoor enjoyment and property values for residents living in the vicinity of the land spreading and the production area. And finally, pathogen exposure. If not properly managed, manure can carry pathogens like E. coli and Salmonella, which may enter private wells and water systems. Our families depend on clean water for drinking, fishing, and recreation. Tourism and property values rely on a reputation for pristine natural resources. This, we believe, is not the place for a CAFO. You have an obligation to your constituents in the town of Sevastopol, town of Sturgeon Bay, and the city of Sturgeon Bay to oppose Gilbert Farm expansion. We believe anything less puts the entire community at risk. Door County residents deserve accurate information, consistent enforcement, and above all, protection of our water and land that sustains our way of life. Thank you.
All right, thank you much. Anyone else? Gwen?
Hi, thank you, Chairman Wolfle and members of the town board. I just wanted to give a couple quick updates. One, at the Land Conservation Committee meeting last week, Amanda Surface from the Door County Soil and Water Department gave a presentation on the University of Minnesota St. Anthony Falls study regarding what the bottom looked like when wake boats were going over it, ballasted or unballasted. She had some of the videos to share, so they're keeping it active and monitoring our situations. I also wanted to thank the Park and Rec Committee. I think everybody was actually there when they voted to to remove the ordinance from being tabled so we can get this discussed earlier, since there's no additional information that would be necessary to make a decision. And I also want to make a quick comment, because I know the concept of ordinance enforcement has been challenging in terms of bringing this particular ordinance to the committees. And we have an ordinance right now for no motor in the north end. In the last month, there have been 2 fishermen going beyond the northern marked buoys, which are labeled no motor. And I was happened to be out there for both of them, so, you know, God knows how many people are fishing up there that I don't happen to be out on the water and see. But just as a reference for how ordinances are handled, I got the license plate, the Wisconsin boat license number, and I contacted Conservation Warden Krecha and sent him pictures, and he contacted both of the people who actually were day boaters or day fishermen. They were not people who were part of our Clark Lake Association. Not that that makes any difference, it just affects communication a little differently to reach out to the general public who are using these waters. He is responsive, he's on the lake, and I feel that he will offer the same service, if you will, with any enforcement, any lack of, or I don't know how I want to say it. He will help with the enforcement of any ordinance that is, we have documentation of being disregarded. In addition, now that there have been 2 of these instances of electric motors in the north end, we will be looking to make a change to the sign that's at the west boat ramp to indicate that no motors mean no electric and no internal combustion. It's not changing the printing of the ordinance or anything, it's just we have a colored map and we want to draw some arrows to these buoys, because apparently this is not widely understood that no motors means no motors of any kind. So I don't think it needs town approval for us to just put like a little addendum on there defining no motor, but if you want, I would be happy to send it to Amy, and you can look at it before we make any adjustment to the signs.
It's
up to
probably
you
not a
guys.
bad idea, but I don't anticipate our needing to get involved.
No, I don't think so either.
Right.
It's not changing anything except hopefully increasing visibility. That was the whole point, to keep motors out of the north end. So we need to better define it for them. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, honorable supervisors, we came here tonight to introduce ourselves because we live on the old Stoneman farm above the old Zahn's Green Thumb, currently Zahn's Fireworks, and our driveway is on 4257. And the proposed roundabout coming will be before our driveway with no recourse for us to ever turn south. And when we address those issues with the DOT and such, they told me that all of this was out of their scope of their project. Well, whether using a microscope or a rifle scope, if you can't get something in your view, you move the slide or you adjust your shot. And they say nothing's done, but any suggestions brought forth are also, unconsidered. To me, in my 69 years of life, this thing is chiseled in stone already. And they're suggesting to us, if we want to go south, we should go up to the stop and go lights at C&W, turn on the dead end road, and use somebody's driveway to turn on. And our concerns fall deeper into the sense of if there's grandchildren and we need a school bus, my mailman, he's got no way to get out, because where our driveway is the 2 lanes that come out of the, you know, roundabout, and they're either jogging over and racing through, or they're coming back around, you know. And, you're welcome to come sit in my driveway on a Friday night, and, you know, you can't make 1,002, you know, for the car, shoot, shoot, shoot. And that's Door County. But, we're hoping that in the sense of safety, maybe that, in the future, we can count on the town to, at least hear what we're trying to say. Thank you very much.
Okay. I don't know if there's anyone else left to talk. Hugh, your turn is coming, but in a bit. All right. Is that it? No? Anyone else? We are familiar with your situation. I have been involved in it. I know you talked to Hugh. I understand your position. I don't know at the moment what the alternative is, but it's a work in progress, I guess. So, all right. That being said, let's move on to our agenda for tonight, and I guess I'd have to ask if it was properly noticed.
The
Must
agenda
have
was
been.
properly noticed.
All right. A motion to adopt would be in order.
Make that motion.
Motion by Jeannie, second by?
Second.
Second by Trent. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Approval of the minutes. Board of Supervisors meeting, August 18th. You've all had a chance to take a peek, so motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the Board of Supervisors meeting from August 18th of 2025.
All right, motion by Mark, second by?
Second.
Second by Trent. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Carried, done. All right, we're off on, I should catch up with myself here. All right,
Pending business.
pending business, and actually, pending business, there's little or none, but its motion, new business, is just a discussion on the EMRs, and I actually had a little bit of this with different people, but this is nothing more than a recap of where the county is relative to the placement, the replacement of the radios and pagers in terms of where we're at. And I think we kind of thought that this was going to happen. They are in fact going to fund the cost of those. We will be funding the annual maintenance and any upgrades and other things that might be required once these are put in place. The biggest single thing here is for us to track and continue to be accurately reflecting the number of home-based EMRs so that we don't end up having operational costs that really are being borne by other departments. And I think Trent's on top of that one. There's a copy of the resolution in there, and also there's a breakout of the costs in terms of what you could anticipate as we move forward. And fortunately, having a limited number versus some of the places where there are fire departments, our out-of-pocket expense on an annual basis looks to be pretty reasonable.
Yep.
So I think that's good news. Anticipated on one side to be a roughly $325 for the maintenance, and of course they don't know at this point what exactly the frequency will be, but it looks like it's going to be well within our control as long as our numbers remain reasonable in terms of home-based. So, Trent, we leave that in your trusting hands as things move out. Okay. Next item is the financial reports. You should have the account balances. You will also have the budget, excuse me, the budget versus, budget versus actual, and you have the transactions by date. Amy, do you have anything that you'd like to mention?
Yep, the town sent out its fourth quarter fire dues to the City of Sturgeon Bay Fire Department.
Is that why they've been dancing?
We have submitted our grant application to the Door County Community Foundation for the new Shower Road. I'm currently working on the budget to have it ready for the budget work session, which is October 14th at 5:30.
Thank you, and I will deviate for just a second to tell you that Amy and I, and Amy more than I, but put a lot of time and effort into this grant application for Shower Road. It is
a tremendous amount of work that goes in to get all the necessary documentation to satisfy their requirements, and she's done a great job, especially in getting letters of support. So thanks for that, Amy, not to deviate. If everybody's good on the financial reports, I'd need a motion to put those on file.
Go ahead, Jeannie.
I'll make a motion to place the financial reports from August 2025 on file.
A motion by Jeannie, second by?
Second.
Second by Mark, to accept the financial reports for August of '25. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion approved. Okay, approvals of vouchers, bills, claims from August 10th through September 15th. You've all had a chance to sign them, so a motion would be in order.
I'll make a motion to approve the vouchers, bills, and claims from August 19th, 2025 through September 15th, 2025.
Motion by Trent, second by?
Second.
Second by Mark. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nobody's opposed. Okay, good to know. We have oral committee commission reports. We have in the packet the Communications Technology Committee meetings from last September, no less.
Yes.
Very current.
A long break we had from all of our hard work of with
Absolutely a
broadband.
long break. So we would need a motion to put those on file, and then if there's anyone that would like to speak on oral committee reports.
I'll be happy to make the motion to put the minutes from September 11th, 2024 from the Communications Technology Committee on file.
All right, motion by Jeannie,
Second?
second by Trent. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, anyone wishing to speak, oral committee reports? Hearing none, I'm not disappointed. Okay. Hugh, County Board Report, District Supervisor, Mr. Zettel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The primary activity that's been going on for the last several months and then kind of went through a draft submission in August has been the county's budget. At previous meetings, I told you that when we first looked at it in the March-April timeframe, we had a $1.3 million deficit, and we were looking at various ways to try to close that gap. I'm happy to report that we do have a draft budget that was approved and sent back to the various departments, and it is balanced. The budget is for $32.95 million. It's a variance of about $965K, or 3%, roughly a little over 3%. The tax rate is per $1,000 of assessed equalized value is $2.21, and that's actually lower than the previous year by 8.4%. And that's for a couple of reasons. One is the county's valuation overall grew substantially versus the prior year. And probably the biggest component of that, as you know, we are limited to what we can tax levy based on net new construction, right? If there's no economic, growth, buildings, et cetera, we can't raise the tax levy. Well, the net new construction number for 2025 is 1.78%, or $473,000 and some change. It's the highest value on record that the finance director from the county has seen. So that helps substantially in closing the gap. In addition, the county is changing how it manages some of its funds and holding that basically is in short-term instruments to gather interest. We've been able to get very favorable returns on some of those short-term instruments. And so we're going to be a little, I don't want to say more aggressive, but more pragmatic relative to including those amounts in the upcoming budgets, relative to how that's portrayed. In addition, during our workshop we had in April, we found some practices that we changed within the departments where they just basically looked at forecasts from previous years as opposed to looking at actuals. So, for example, having a favorable balance of over $600,000, because they looked at estimated electrical usage as opposed to looking at what's your actual kilowatt hours. And it's not like we change that year to year, with our facilities. A lot of that is pretty standard. So there's just some things there to make sure that the pencils were a lot sharper and to make sure we didn't have these huge swings, relative to budget forecasting. So it's back at the departments. The various departments are scrubbing them. The other thing is, from a capital budget perspective, all the road constructions that were budgeted are included. I believe County T is in scope for next year. I'm pretty sure it is. It's either 26 or 27. I think it's 26. It's basically from the highway down to Glidden. If you look at that chunk of road, it needs some work. So the other nice things relative to reports is there was an update by the county administrator on the sign, the emergency signs. There was a pilot implemented in the town of Sturgeon Bay along Lake Forest Park Road relative to the bracket scheme that they're looking at using for reusing existing brackets, as well as new posts. And they're now expanding that through to complete the rest of the town of Sturgeon Bay, and then they'll schedule work for the other towns. For people that are getting new houses built and get a new 911 number assigned, those are actually being installed now with the new signs. So if you saw the blue signs and a flag orientation, those are the new signs that are being implemented.
Throughout the whole county?
Yes, throughout the whole county.
Nice.
Yes,
Great.
there was some of the money that was originally in the ARPA funds that the county received 4 years ago, that has been what we call defederalized. In other words, put into a project where it can't be pulled back, and a lot of that fund, Supervisor Hain was for that project.
Good deal.
So good news to report on that front. We'll be getting those.
Hugh, what kind of time frame is there for everyone to get the signs? Any idea?
As long as they can go before the frost sets, then probably.
Oh,
and then
so
continue. Yeah, they're
hurry up,
pushing
go.
through.
Okay.
Absolutely,
Great.
absolutely. It's been too long in the tooth waiting for it to get done, quite honestly. So I'm glad it's finally occurring. Relative to ordinances, just one related actually to the radio towers project. The ordinance 2025-07 was an amendment to the county comprehensive zoning ordinance. It basically allows a government entity, whether it's a county, a town, a village, to basically purchase and subdivide a very, very small subparcel. And that basically is to allow the county basically to purchase land for the towers that we have to install, but allow the owner to basically, that we do a sub-purchase from, to retain the existing zoning rights they have. So if we have a 40-acre and I take out a quarter acre for a tower, we'll still treat it like a 40, from a zoning perspective, and then also be able to have it go back to them so they don't lose any of the rights they had relative to what their zoning was. There are some towns that are looking at, and villages looking at implementing that for things like where they need to put standalone generators in place. Gibraltar supported this ordinance, and they talked about the issue they have on the Chambers Island, where they had to buy a huge parcel just to put a communication tower. And so if they could, what they are looking at doing is potentially just selling the huge parcel, of which they had a hard time managing. People have used it as a junkyard and other things. They can keep the parcel they need just for their radio tower and communication tower, and sell the rest of it, whether it's to Land Conservancy or other stakeholders that can take care of the property. So there's some positive ways we can do that to save costs for tower purchase, as well as stewardship of the land. Just a couple things I just wanted to note outside of this month's meeting, if you can, and you've got it up there, thank you, Madam Clerk. The UW Oshkosh Fall private well monitoring program is registration's underway, so I encourage everyone to do that. It's available both the spring and the fall, Door County is the leading county relative to its long-term stewardship of protecting groundwater and private wells. This is definitely worth taking, and it's great because it provides us a long-running snapshot of well protection and helps us identify trouble spots. A lot of the well tests that get done during this kind of self-serve approach have been used to help target additional well testing that we've done, or that the county has done with the additional or alternative, I'll call it, well testing program, where we have a private contractor that's now in year 3 doing additional well tests that looks for things other than your typical nitrates, phosphates, and bacteria. You know, looking at PFAS, microplastics, chemotherapy drugs, which is a potential problem because that goes into a pouch system, and pouch systems, as we know, only handles bacteria, doesn't handle nitrates, phosphates, or other goodies that are in a pouch system. So a great program, and they get the results done, you know, in a fairly quick process by the end of the year. So I encourage residents to continue to use that useful tool. The other piece I wanted to bring up is I'm disappointed in Supervisor Vogel for not giving a shout out to what's going on with all the orange conduit that's surrounding the town.
Hey, I did it last month when you weren't here, Hugh.
But as the chairperson of the broadband committee for the county, I'm excited by the great progress that's being done in the town. I see work done in the town, starting in the town of Sturgeon Bay, as well as just a lot of great progress being made in the town of Sevastopol to provide affordable, reliable fiber connectivity to all our residents. And with that, we are holding kind of, if you will, our last broadband committee meeting in October. Relative to what I call kind of our first phase. Our first phase of our committee kind of focused on adoption, helping communities put the processes in place where they could, you know, get vendors established, go after grants, and get at the point where we are implementing and installing fiber. We're going to reconstitute our committee with other stakeholders as we move into the phase of helping to drive adoption. So there's going to be a lot more focus of our committee on how do we help people sign up, how do they learn things like streaming, how do they get access to devices. We have a lot of work with stakeholders from United Way, Do Good Door County, AT&T, and other providers that have provided devices. So we want to make sure, for example, that families that couldn't afford broadband before, that where they have affordability options, that we encourage them to do that, find ways to get them devices, and you know, work on the adoption and the learning to make sure we can fully use the technology like it should be. So I'm looking forward to that October meeting and launching kind of the new phase at the first of the year. So with that, I thank you for your time. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
I have
Supervisor
two
Hain.
quick ones. With the water testing, are we a drop-off location? Do you know? We're not this time? Okay.
Jackson
Right.
Port and Crossroads.
Okay. I know we were last year, 2 years ago, a couple of years back.
It's been a while.
It's
Jackson
been a
Port's
while.
been the most recent.
Okay.
And yeah, ADRC was another
Okay.
location.
You can get your water tested at Gilbert's.
Perfect. I get mine.
Send
We've been doing ours.
Send the brochure over there and they'll get you a sample.
Dan.
So just curious on the resolution 25-67 with the financial assistance for the trees at Frank Murphy Park. Was that something caused by the tornado that just went through, the Class 0 tornado, or is this something that was previous
No,
kind of in the works?
it's previous relative to when we get grants for assistance after a certain dollar threshold, it has to come to the board to approve it.
So it's been in the
So I
works
think it's
going.
north of $5,000. So it's previous funds that already been allocated. So that is basically accepting that, so that then they can then use it within the
Okay.
Parks and Facilities team to deploy it.
Because that area got hammered down there.
Yeah, a lot of egg
Right
harbor
down
got-
that area.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
A comment on broadband. One of our board members is now an AT&T customer. Amy signed up and was installed last week. So that's right here
Isn't that
in,
cool?
that's right here in
Yes.
Institute where Amy resides. So, and we
And
know
up-
they're
Up on the screen, you'll see the updated map
Yep.
of the projected dates that they're supposed to be in your area.
And it's on the
And
website.
I was going to say,
It
by the
is.
way, it's on the website.
It is
Look
on the website.
Click on that little word on the front that says broadband, and you'll get all kinds of information.
Yeah, everybody out there in Facebook world, click on the website. And lots of questions on Facebook every day about it.
Is there really?
Oh, yeah.
Just go on the website.
The other
people.
thing, the other thing to make mention, if you're gonna change from charter, you don't wanna change from charter until month end. They do not prorate. So if you're paying $85 a month for internet and you switch to AT&T and you do it on the 2nd of September, you lost $85. So you wanna coordinate your departure date so you don't just throw away a couple of bucks. I'm looking forward to that, but we'll see.
So how's it working, Madam Clerk?
It's very quick, very quick. The installation and everything was very painless. The technician maybe spent about 3 hours to make sure where the lines were, and then they did everything. They give you their modem, so you don't have to purchase any equipment whatsoever. I'll tell you when the first bill gets here.
Okay.
Who did you have
And,
before?
yeah, who'd
I
you have
had
before?
charter before.
Okay. So you might be able to save some money that you can buy everyone
Yeah, I
a
don't
soft
know.
drink later on.
Yeah.
I had a pretty good thing with charter, to
Yeah,
tell
super,
you
yeah.
the truth, when I signed on.
Plus you have high school kids, so
Yes,
that money's
yes.
already been spoken for, I understand. All right, that's great
Absolutely.
news, thank you. Now we just need to get another supervisor, that's not here to get her switched to.
It's gonna be a
AT&T.
difficult transition.
So, but that's great news. I'm glad we're getting people hooked up.
Yep.
I've heard some positive feedback from folks in Bay Shore and some of the Bay Shore Property Owner Association about, someone switching from satellite, and, saving a lot of money plus
Town of
getting
Egg Harbor.
orders of magnitude more performance. So those are all great stories that we have to make sure we continue to discuss. So, thank you.
One more comment on the broadband too. When they come into your yard, if they're digging it up, give them a couple of weeks. They do a great job of re-landscaping, planting the new grass, but just
Yeah.
give them a little time. Don't, so,
Yeah,
Yeah, don't jump down the
yeah,
Good,
they
thank
do
you.
a great job, so, yes.
Thank you
cool.
for saying
Good
that.
point, Trent, thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Moving on, you have a copy in your book on the Door County zoning permits for the month, as well as a copy of inspection specialist billing for the month for permits. And the last one was a quick ad, which is a Class A liquor license for Doorstop LLC, which is the Amico station next to Culver's. Amy, you want to tell us all the details?
That they sold, and Barsh Singh is the new owner. He also owns
hole in one.
Huh?
Hole in one.
Hole in One, yep, across the bay. He paid all his dues. We got it noticed in the paper, and he should be ready to go as long as we approve it.
And
Do
to
we
be-
want to approve it? Okay.
And to be clear, this isn't a new place this is a place that had liquor before. We're just extending
Right.
to the new owner.
Correct,
Yeah.
but anytime anything changes hands, the liquor license does not go with
Yeah.
the establishment. You have to reapply.
Correct. Okay, motion to approve the liquor license for the Amico.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mark, second by Trent. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? He's legit tonight. Okay, correspondence. The first one in there is a note that came to Amy. And she has expanded her reach to include Gravedigger.
Jigger.
Gravedigger. We got a nice letter from a couple that stopped in, and Amy helped them locate their families in what cemeteries they were placed in. And she was kind enough to copy me in, so she's expanded her wealth of knowledge and her abilities. So we'll give you that. The Department of Revenue data that you have in here, this is just to give you a look at how other towns, Hugh's already addressed the fact that countywide we had a huge increase, as well as our town, in valuation. And we are not at risk of sliding too high or too low, of having to do another reval, so which is all good news.
Yes.
And you can see from the percentages, I won't bother to go into them all, but everyone's had some fairly healthy growth with few exceptions. In our case, we had 15.45%, $204 million change, which is substantial, and one of the reasons that we didn't see a huge impact on the reval, because it was across the board changes. So it's there for your neighbor when they come over and say, I had a big tax bill, and you can take them through all of this stuff and explain what's going on.
Thanks, Dan.
You're welcome.
Send them your way.
All right. And then you have a copy of the City of Sturgeon Bay Fire Department report for the month. And the last one was kind of something I just thought I would put in there. I think you've all seen this. This is nothing, it was just a copy of a certificate of appreciation from the former town chairman, Leo Zipper. I kind of lost track of some of the dates, and so I'd asked Amy to pull some things up, and we found that the sesquicentennial, that was the 150th celebration for the town, occurred in 2009. This town hall was built in 2008. I think we've done a good job of keeping it in great shape. We just had the entire town hall repainted, and if you haven't seen some of the, especially the back where the sun was, a remarkable change. And then the last one was the certificate of appreciation. Leo left this job in 2017. So it's pretty surprising that so much time has passed so quickly. So those are all the things in the correspondence. Announcements. We have a Park and Rec meeting at 6 p.m. on September 24th. Gwen, do not bury us. Okay.
It's going to be a long one.
You know, otherwise, you're going to have to bring food and beverages, and more beverages than food. Okay, budget workshop, and that's on Tuesday the 14th at 5:30. Our next Board of Supervisors meeting is Monday, October 20th at 7 p.m. If anyone has anything for next month's agenda, you can let me know now or over the course of the next few weeks. Hearing none.
All right, then a motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn would be appropriate. Motion by Trent.
Second.
Second by Mark. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Sorry.